Come, all ye young fellas, so young and so fine, and seek not your fortune way down in the mine. It'll form as a habit and a sleep in your soul, till the streams of your blood run as black as a coal. Where it's dark as a dungeon and damp as the dew, where the dangers are double and the pleasures are few, where the rain never falls and the sun never shines. It's as dark as a dungeon way down in the mine. Now when I die and the ages roll, my body will blacken and turn into coal. As I look from the steps of my heavenly home, I'll pity the miner digging my bones. Where it's dark as a dungeon, it's damp as a dew, where the dangers are double and the pleasure.
Redleg Boy by Ed Rose. Part 3. The Short Season. When the 1907 Interstate League opened on May 15th, Pop Kelchner remained at Albright College to wrap up his professorial duties for the spring semester. He arrived in Kane on June 12th at the end of an unseasonably damp and chilly spring. Due to the lousy weather, business matters quickly went downhill for the Kane team and for the other unfortunate clubs of the Interstate League. In his book entitled Joe McCarthy, Architect of the Yankee Dynasty, author Alan Levy described the hard luck encountered by the teams of the Interstate Loop in the spring of 1907. Day after day, rainouts occurred. One local paper described a steady pattern of chilling air and glum skies. According to the Pittsburgh papers, every team in the Interstate League is losing money, with weather killing off games and attendance. By July 1st, Erie was the only club in the circuit not in debt. Rainouts continued to frustrate the staging of games and promotion efforts. A Franklin Booster Day, for example, was rained out twice before it was finally held. On July 15th, a desperate Franklin club announced a street fair for the benefit of the team, with club officials admitting they needed to quickly raise $600. Umpires were not always paid. League games sometimes took place without them. By July 20th, the clubs of Kane and Olean had disbanded. Despite having a talented roster, with a rising young manager in charge, the Kane Mountaineers could not overcome their lost gate receipts and faded away for good. During the final season of professional baseball in Kane in 1907, future Hall of Fame manager Joe McCarthy, then a fuzzy-cheeked 20-year-old, batted .314 in 71 games for the rival Franklin Millionaires. While young Morse Joe soon found out that he was not big league material as a player, the future skipper of the Yankees would later coach Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth, and Joe DiMaggio on his way to earning the highest career winning percentage of any manager in the history of the major leagues. When the Kane Mountaineers folded on July 16th, after winning only 17 of their 43 games, Jake Dalbert was sold to the Marion, Ohio team, his first stop along the way to earning fame and popularity with the Dodgers. And Harry Kovaleski would shuffle off for the summer to the independent Wildwood, New Jersey team, where he joined his brother John on the Ottens roster. According to the book Deadball Stars of the American League, edited by David Jones, his performance in New Jersey was impressive enough to catch the attention of the Philadelphia Phillies, who signed Kovaleski to a $250 per month contract on September 3, 1907. Pop Kelchner languished a few more years as a player and coach in the low minors, including a 2-year hitch as a playing manager for nearby Clearfield of the Blue Mountain League. According to a letter written by Kelchner to the Sporting News in 1947, it was during this period that many players of note got their start and were developed under his management. This attracted the attention of Major League owners, with the result that Kelchner served as a scout during 1909, 1910, and 1911 for Connie Mack. "I quit the game as a player in 1912, Kelchner wrote. For the 1907 campaign, the last professional season in Kane, Kelchner hit a respectable .284, finishing second on the club in batting to Jake Daubert. By this point in his career, Kelchner had already earned his moniker Pop as father figure, mentor, coach, and friend to a troupe of young ball players that would be forever known as Pop's Boys. When the Kane Mountaineers gave up the ghost, Kelchner resumed the epic baseball journey that earned him the mark as baseball's Dean of Scouts. He also served concurrently as athletic director and the chair of Latin and German at Albright until 1919. During this period, Pop also found time to coach the college's baseball, basketball, and football teams. Sports writer Tiny Perry, in a September 23, 1958 article in the Lebanon Daily News, remembers Kelchner's earliest days as a sports instructor. Pop Kelchner's college association that lasted actively through 20 years as head coach of all sports at Albright also won enduring friendships in the collegiate sports world. His familiar calls of encouragement to his charges, "Come on, boys, you can do it," still rings in the ears of many old-time fans. And according to a newspaper report from the February 3, 1955 edition of the Fresno Bee, Kelchner well remembered his Albright football teams playing the Carlisle Indians, then coached by the late Pop Warner and starring the late Jim Thorpe. "I remember they beat us one game exactly 100-0. Touchdowns were scored as 4 points apiece then, so you can see Thorpe had a big day," Kelchner said. "And I remember him kicking a high, long, spiraling punt downfield, running down and catching it to retain possession of the ball. That was a bad day for us, but I also remember once when they beat us only 6-0 on another occasion." With a burning passion for athletics, this learned and traveled professor, sportsman, and Christian gentleman made a lasting impact on his players in Kane in the summer of 1907. And when his baseball career finally ended more than 50 years later, Kelchner numbered among his closest friends Branch Rickey and Connie Mack, both of whom were in attendance in 1952 when Albright's baseball diamond was named in his honor. In 1918, the modest Dutchman, erstwhile skipper of the Kane Mountaineers, managed Babe Ruth and Rogers Hornsby on the same club in the Bethlehem Steel League, having arguably the game's greatest left-handed hitter and the greatest right-handed hitter in the same lineup. Despite walking with the giants of the sport, Kelchner never forgot his humble roots in the low minors and the players that he personally signed and recommended for advancement. For all times, they remained Pop's Boys.